Let's jump right into a really foundational moment in ancient history, the very first census of the nation of Israel. A census sounds like just a bunch of numbers, but this story from the book of Numbers is about how you build a nation from scratch in the middle of nowhere. Think about the challenge here. You have an enormous crowd of people, hundreds of thousands of them, who have just escaped slavery. They are basically refugees camped in the Sinai wilderness exactly 1 year after leaving Egypt. They are free, but they are also vulnerable and disorganized. They need a plan and an identity. True freedom without structure quickly devolves into chaos. A newly liberated community must rapidly build its own internal architecture to survive its newfound independence.
The solution arrives as a divine call to order. Now listen closely to the details. This is not a simple head count. It is a strict military registration. They are searching for warriors, men 20 years old or older, crucially able to go to war. Right off the bat, this entire undertaking is about survival. Before a visionary group can thrive culturally or spiritually, it must first secure its operational borders. Physical survival is the absolute prerequisite for any higher organizational purpose. For such a massive undertaking, the plan was actually pretty straightforward. Find the men who meet the age requirement, make sure they are fit, register them by family line, and delegate. Moses knew this was way too big a job for 1 or 2 guys. They brought in a team of 12 established tribal leaders, like Nahshon from Judah. Effective scaling requires trusting local authority. A top-level leader cannot manage every detail, but must actively empower and formalize the leaders already embedded within the community.
After all that hard work, what did the numbers actually look like? For starters, it became really clear that not all tribes were created equal in size. The tribe of Judah was an absolute powerhouse, with almost 75,000 men ready for service. Objective data naturally reveals an organization's true centers of gravity, showing exactly where the greatest capacities and leverage points are actually located. This wasn't just a list, it was a strategic map of the nation's military muscle. Then we get the grand total, 603,550 men. Wow! Just let that number sink in for a second. In what felt like an instant, this census revealed they were no longer a small tribe of wanderers. Quantifying your resources shifts your collective psychology from feeling like a vulnerable victim to realizing you possess formidable, undeniable power. They were a massive army capable of standing up and defending itself.
But hold on, because there is a plot twist. After such a careful, detailed military count, they intentionally left an entire tribe out, the tribe of Levi. It wasn't an accident. The nation was organized around 2 very different kinds of duty. A robust system deliberately excludes certain critical functions from regular operational metrics, recognizing that not all value can or should be measured by the exact same standard. For the tribe of Levi, their job was a sacred duty. They were in charge of the portable tabernacle at the center of the community. They were the movers, the setup crew, and the security guards. They camped in a tight circle directly around the holy place, acting as a human shield. The greatest threat to an organization is often not external competitors, but the internal mishandling of its own powerful core. It requires dedicated guardians to manage that intense energy safely. When you put all these pieces together, you start to see that this census was the architectural blueprint defining the very soul of a new nation. It took a chaotic crowd of former slaves and gave them a structure, a military, and a spiritual core. The metrics you obsess over inevitably design the culture you get. If you only count soldiers, you become an army. But if you intentionally protect your spiritual core, you become a complete society. This ancient text proves that what we choose to count says a lot about what we think is absolutely essential for who we are. This leaves us with 2 important questions to chew on today. First, when looking at your own life or organization, what are the specific metrics you are obsessing over, and what do they reveal about your true core values? Second, how do you actively build a human shield to to protect the most sacred, foundational center of your community from being compromised. Take a moment, breathe, and let them sink in.